Warning, this podcast contains explicit sexual language and should only be listened to at work if you're looking for an excuse to connect with your HR representative. Additionally, all mentions of the word women include cis, trans, NB, genderqueer, gender fluid, and those still figuring it out. Yes, you are welcome here.
Will you open up with me? These pages, they can feed your innermost desires. Do you feel inspired? Are you getting what you need? Are you coming curiously? A secret safe with me. And here you can simply be yourself. Jace reads romance. Come on in, come on in, come on.
Hi, y'all. This is Jace, she, they, and you found Jace Reads Romance, a community empowering women about sex and sexuality through the reading of romance novels. Welcome to part 2 of my conversation with Courtney Abbott, an intimacy director and choreographer from Chicago, Illinois, as we talk about romance novels, consent, intimacy, media, where it's going, where it's coming from, and so much more. If you haven't listened to part 1, go back and find it from last week, and I hope you enjoy the conclusion of our conversation. I want to share from my perspective, and you put in your 2 cents. Romance novels used to be that thing that you hid in secret for most people. Rarely did you find a person who was willing to read them out loud in public, put them on their bookshelf. And I feel like there's been a wonderful turning point in the last, maybe, I don't want to say 10 years, because I don't even think if you went back 10 years, it was that popular, but maybe 10-ish years, let's call it that for safety. But this kind of more openness about romance novels existing, romance novels being legitimate things that people enjoy, that they're not smut, that they have good writing, good and big readership. I'm seeing more bookstores that didn't have romance sections have dedicated romance sections. So what are you seeing or in the, is that something you're noticing? And how do you think that is affecting the other content that we absorb on stage and on screen, and our expectations for what we're seeing? Because you can't see this, but y'all, like there is erotic romance for anything that you want. But what used to only be talked about, and really what used to be mainly published, was mainstream, cis, het, white, maybe a cowboy thrown in there, and a cowboy or a pirate. Those are your options.
Cowboys.
Pirates and cowboys. And this, I think that the books are really making headway for the media that we're seeing. And even if you haven't read the Duke and I, the source material for Bridgerton,
Right.
go to the blog. It's one of the posts, like how that story in this book form did evolve to be what it is on screen and also on stage. So how are you noticing the evolution of intimacy on stage specifically?
Oh my gosh.
It's a really long diatribe.
So I am hopeful. I have a lot of hope. And I can't help but think, I don't think any of us want to, but I think we owe a debt of gratitude to 50.
Michael, like, please, I'm not going to lie, Michael, bleep out that title. I'm not talking about that title. I can't in good faith.
Okay.
But like,
I could have said the Twilight series because that was the inspiration.
It is, but it doesn't have smut, and that's pretty. We're going to be talking about. No,
I'm
please.
We owe a debt of gratitude to whoever down the line tipped the domino that led to that domino tipping, because the social justice job that I did had me traveling a lot. I was in airports every week, and nothing was flying off of those shelves faster than those black, white, and gray covers. They were and and I saw them so much, I finally went, "Okay, fine." I had a layover, I picked one of them up, I flipped into the random middle of it and started reading, and I thought, "This is terrible, and this is what I used to shoplift from the library.
Yeah.
This isn't something new. This is Fabio on the cover. This is someone trying to get sensuality out into the mainstream, and they finally wrapped it in enough layers of cellophane that someone was willing to, like, put it on the shelf. And I don't think it's a healthy depiction of anything. I hope no one uses it as a user's manual, but it did, I think, help some people feel seen. It helped some
Mhm.
people feel seen poorly and therefore inspired them to write their own things that are accurate,
Mhm.
that are real, that are good. And I think it helped some people who had never considered how sexual play might make them feel outside of the very standard narrow vanilla context they might be related to. I think it opened some people up. And that's a good in my book, that's a good thing.
I will, you know what, y'all? I will absolutely agree with that. That there's, I do not agree that that book is good. I cannot talk about that from a place of any sort of neutrality, but I will say that it did spark the conversation that has led to the good coming out. Um,
And we could go further back than that, right? Before that, we had what was the movie with the masks and the orgy scene that got everybody so
Eyes
worked
Wide, was
up?
it Eyes Wide
There you go,
Shut
Eyes
or
Wide
something
Shut,
like
there
that?
you go.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I think so you were asking about sensuality and intimacy in culture. I think, in
Yes,
entertainment
and
specifically, the
it's
depictions
coming. It's like,
and
because
I
things almost in book form, like there are things that we can see in a book that like maybe not yet. Like we could not put that on screen at this moment based on lots of things, but it's coming. It's the evolution is happening.
I think I want to credit women with the definition that you use in your show. I want to credit women in places of power with this sea change, because the vision of Nicole Kidman's wrapped in a sheet in Batman's lair or Bruce Wayne's lair, whatever, and we know they did the deed. You know, swell music, fade to black, everyone's in sheets drinking coffee, all of that nonsense.
Mhm.
That was a male gaze issue. And the more and more women filmmakers, writers, storytellers, creators, producers, please, the more women backing stories, the more on-ramping shows up, I feel,
Mhm.
and off-ramping shows up. Those are words I use a lot when I'm choreographing because folks often see the words "they kiss" in a script, and they consider that a one note of music, and that's a whole score. Who decides to kiss? Does the other person decide at the same time? How do they come together? Who moves first? Which way does my head tilt so my nose doesn't bonk your nose? Is there touching with hands at the same time, or are we just pecking like those little birds that go in the water on the desk? Like, a kiss is a complicated motion. There is an on-ramp and there is an off-ramp from that action, and the same is true of any sexual activity, and I think those on-ramps and those off-ramps are things that, as you were alluding to, we can depict on stage and screen ethically, consensually, with boundaries, with masking and with props and with all sorts of wonderful sleight of hand tricks. And we can create the story of sensuality. We can create the story of the build and the release and the enjoyment of the release, or the disconnection that happens after the release, or all the stories of sex, of which I think there are probably an infinite number.
Yeah. I feel like I have gone through my list of questions.
Can I
So,
ask,
yes,
is
please.
I had a realization with the Barbie movie. I walked out
Yeah.
and I was kinda like, "Huh, that was fun." I had a nice time. My partner and I laughed at the same things.
Mhm.
That's why they're my partner. And
Yep.
we walked out and thought, "Oh, what a lovely movie. We had a fun time." And I was like, Everyone's so hyped about that. Like, people are hyped
Yes.
in this direction and hyped in this
Yeah.
direction." And then I realized that's maybe the second time in my life I've seen a movie that was written in my own schema.
Mhm.
It did not challenge my paradigm. My worldview was presented to me on screen. I was presented with protagonists I could identify with. What up, weird Barbie? But also
Oh.
regular traditional Barbie, and also America Ferrera as a real woman in the world trying to live, you know?
Yep.
I and then I broke into a sweat and started crying because I realized the other one was Tank Girl, which is about a dystopian society where men have controlled all the resources and one badass punk rock chick is trying to take it back. Written by a couple men, punk rock men, but all the same, like, that was the
Mhm.
closest I had gotten to, thank you, Lori Petty, until now, and Courtney Love for the soundtrack, let's be real. So, I walked out of the Barbie movie and was like, "Wow, you, my partner, who is a cis man and white and from Northern California, where he is one of a crowd, every movie is that for him. He can
Mhm.
go see movies he doesn't care about, he doesn't like. He can go see movies about sports he doesn't like or, places he's never been or people doing shoot 'em up police chase things or whatever, and his paradigm that the world has offered him is there on screen.
Mhm.
And for us, it is honestly that rare. We have to go digging for art films. We have to go digging through a sea of erotica to find the one thing that does touch our buttons.
Mhm.
It's true in so many ways. I wanna do one
Yeah.
other thing. Plug your local sex shop. Hey, go to your local
Okay.
sex shop.
Yeah.
You said before, people who are outside of that button-down norm can potentially get the idea that, "Wow, I could be anything. Anything is available for me." Also, often those people get the idea that nothing is for me, I belong nowhere, and I have no place, and I have no deserving of pleasure. What? That's not a sentence. I don't deserve pleasure, I don't deserve to feel good, my desires are not allowed. Go to your local sex shop, take a walk around, wear sunglasses if you must, but check it out and discover that you are not alone. We're all a bunch of weirdos. We've all got these bodies sending us signals that we are not taught how to translate or understand, and we're all just doing our best. And a lot of people are willing to go with the default program. And the
Mhm.
default program, listen to any stand up comics, sex is a joke in our culture. Sex after marriage, sex after kids, sex, whatever. Like, we joke about how sex goes bad instead of doing anything to help people help it go right.
Yeah.
So,
The
go to your
Thank
local mom
you.
and pop sex shop. They
Go
love
to
you,
the
they want you to
local,
come.
and they will probably be able to talk to you about sex toys better than Amazon. Just do it.
And
And I
actively
think
buy it from them instead of then going to buy it from Amazon. Really, truly, please.
yes. Okay, last plug for your local sex shop is that, like so many things, with that, if you've never done the work to discover what it is that you find pleasurable, you might think that nothing gives you pleasure or that your body is broken because a partner or partners have not found it. And yes, we can talk about how men are not taught to please women, and that might be a thing, but also the first step is for us to know how to please ourselves. So read your novels. What are the things that kind of like tickle your fancy? What are the descriptions? How can you figure out what feels good on your own so that you can bring that to your partner?
And if
And
you're in a complicated
yeah.
state, check out the book Come As You Are
Oh, it's
by Emily
where is it?
Nagoski.
It's right here. Right here. Right there, y'all. It's coming. It's
Mhm.
coming in a blog
And
episode.
take a look at The Body Is Not an Apology as well.
Oh, I have that in audiobook form.
Fun.
Amazing.
Ooh,
Amazing book. Amazing. Absolutely. Good recommendations. Okay, Courtney,
yes,
I could talk
let's
to
look at
you
sex.
for
Hey,
days, years, ever, forever and ever. But we are almost out of time, and I have 5 questions that I like to ask all of my interviewees before we send them off. So, what is currently your favorite romance novel and why?
I was searching my mind to see if this was a real answer, but one of those books that I lifted long, long ago, The Story of O.
Oh my goodness, yes. That is
I
a
found
throwback story.
it really is. I found that because it was referenced in a more modern romance novel,
Mhm.
and I was taught how to do research, and so I went and did my research and found that book, and it made an impression on me that's never gone. Yeah.
Mhm. Amazing. So, question number 2, where/how do you like to read? Are you a book in bed, a Kindle on the train, audiobook is your new way?
Oh, anywhere, everywhere, all at once. I like to read a paper book, I like to read a Kindle book, I like to listen to an audiobook. I love a full cast recording, I love an author
Mm.
reading. So I do it all on long road trips. My partner and I will listen to long form fantasy stories, just things that will go on for hours and hours and
Mhm.
hours. Um, I love listening to sexy things on the train because then I'm having that experience and looking around at everyone else who's, like, going to work and just feeling kinda good. Um, I I listen to podcasts that talk about sex and romance, and the one thing I don't do is read in my bed. That was always a family that growing up, I always read in bed. College, I always read in bed, and that changed for me, and I don't read in bed anymore. I save the bed for other things.
That's okay. I think it's alright to save it for, sleep and sex.
Yeah,
Sleep and sex isn't that what it's supposed to be now? Like, that's recommended, you should
acrobatics.
only Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so at Jace Reads Romance, we have this idea of comfy sexy.
Yeah.
Often, sexy is seen through the male gaze. It's not comfortable. It's high heels. It's weird lingerie. It's something performative. So this idea of comfy sexy, that in your comfiest clothes, in your like safest space, you are still a sexual being. You can read your sexy novel. You can feel sexy. What does comfy sexy mean to you?
Comfy sexy. I gotta shout out 2 of my partners because I didn't know about that. I bought all the way in to thongs and heels for a long time as ownership. I was owning it. Uh, and then through a number of relationships, I started to discover I would ask a partner, like, Does this look cute? Should I wear this? Is this sexy?" And over again, 2 partners in particular would say, I just I like it when you're naked. I like it when I can see
Mhm.
your body. I like it when you look comfortable. I like it when you're wearing something soft to touch so I can put my arm around you and it feels nice. And it probably has taken me 10 years to download this information. My current partner is one of these people, but I wanna celebrate. I just bought a dress for an occasion, and I bought it sexy comfy. And it's the first time I've bought a formal gown that wasn't like, I gotta duct tape myself together, I gotta, put the pads in the shoes for my feet and, like, all the accoutrement to make
Mhm.
the look. It was undies, pasties, and a top, and that's it.
Love it.
And I found that I have found that so exciting to experience comfy sexy, not only in my home and my jammies, but to translate that out into my world. I also think
Yes.
I think we can be comfy sexy all the time. We can be comfy
Mhm.
sexy asleep, be comfy sexy getting the mail, we can be comfy sexy scrambling eggs. And the more we bring the sexy into it, I think the more connection each of us individually gets to feel with our own drives and our own ups and downs and our fluctuations hormonally, seasonally, through age and time and space. And the more connected we can feel and the more comfortable we feel in our sexuality, I think the better it gets.
I think the better it gets. So you basically answered question number 4. When do
Oh,
you feel your sexiest?
oh, did I though?
But say it again. Did you? When do you
I
feel your
don't know.
sexiest?
Um, I really love playing dress up. I think I feel my sexiest when I have let myself go through an outfit or 2.
Mhm.
Hopefully that resonates with someone
I
out
love
there,
it.
but I'm often under such pressure that it's like, "Throw on some clothes, get on with your life." And if
Yep.
I get the chance to put something on and really feel it and maybe go, "Ugh, not that top," or, "Ooh, not those
Mhm.
shoes," or whatever, and make an adjustment for myself, I think that gives me that boost. I think that reconnects me to my sexuality because it is my sensations that create my sexuality.
Yes. Taking the time, self-care,
Yeah,
getting the outfit
listening to
that's right.
myself, actually checking in, asking things I'm tasked with asking other people to do all the time, I also struggle with, yes.
Don't we all? All right. So our final question is, what is the last thing that you want women, as we define it, to know about sex and sexuality? If there is only one final thing they get to hear from you, what is that soapbox? I want to scream it into the void for forever thing.
It's yours. Own your sex life, own your sexuality. Grab the reins because in all likelihood, someone else has been holding them.
Mm-hmm.
So give yourself permission or find your best girlfriend and ask her to give you permission to grab your own reins and go for the ride. Sex is fun. Play with it. It's how adults play. So let yourself play, let yourself have that joy, and let yourself heal. Because, if you're savvy enough to access this or download this or whatever, there is a possibility that someone has poked at your sensitive self, that culture has put pressure on you to be or look or a certain way or do a certain thing already, no matter your age. And that harm might have left some barriers in you. And it's okay to own those. It's okay to deconstruct those. It's okay to keep them if they help you. But know that they are yours, that all of your sexuality belongs to you, your sexual experiences belong to you. And if anyone did something that you didn't want, I believe you. And it's not too late to tell someone or just say it out loud to yourself. It wasn't your fault. It was something that happened to you. And sex should be something that you do, that you enjoy, that you thrive in. And it's never too late to find that.
Oh, Courtney, thank you. Thank you so much for this, for that last message, for this entire conversation, for the fun and the laughs. Um, where can our listeners find you? If they're as entranced by you as I am, where can they find you, follow along, hear your voice some more?
Thank you so much. I I attempt to expend my social energy live and in person, so I'm a little bit of a shadowy figure in social media, but I can be found at my own website, which is my full name, Courtney Abbott, 2b's2t's.com. And I can be found on Instagram at Run Coco Run, spelled exactly the way you think it is.
I will make sure to post those links in the show notes. Uh, so if you are looking to connect more with me, find those show notes, you can head over to www.jacereadsromance.com, spelled Jayce, readsromance.com. It's where you can find the blog, the notes for the podcast, our page of definitions, and so much more. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram at Jace Reads Romance. And lastly, do you have a book recommendation, a question we can answer in a future episode, or a story to share? You can leave me a voice note at 611-JACE-RR. That's 611-529-2377. Don't forget to subscribe to get each episode of the podcast when they drop. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, this is Jace, holding space for you. And that's it for today, y'all. This has been a 3 Paws Productions podcast. You could find Jace and so much more at jacereadsromance.com. That's JAYCE readsromance.com. Follow along on TikTok and Instagram at Jace Reads Romance. And if you'd like to send an email, our email address is jace@jacereadsromance.com. To leave a voicemail with a question or testimonial for a future episode, call and leave a message at 661-JACE-RR. That's 661-529-2377. And finally, like and subscribe so you can get every episode when they drop. And remember, this is Jace, holding space for you.